Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Epic Cash Live. It is our favorite day. It is Friday, 9/2, September already, everyone. And what you just witnessed, if you were with us earlier, was a golf lesson. Do you know what a mulligan is? In golf, if you get up there and you hit a crappy shot and everybody agrees that on the front nine and back nine, everybody gets one mulligan. That means if you whiff a shot and it shanks and it goes into the woods or whatever, you can call a mulligan and you get a redo. So there may be some of you out there who were watching at noon. We went live and it was an abomination. Had technical difficulties. I'm going to thank Ab the Fakeologist for that, because I reset some settings to be able to do the Tuesday show, to be able to live stream on his channel too. And you know, now mine doesn't work. So I'll work on it. I'll figure it out. No worries. But I'm glad it's Friday. Okay. Max Freeman, founder Epic Cash, yoga dude, master of all. And then we have Izzy with us. He's that cool cat that you see right there. Izzy, does your cat have a name?
That is Grumpy something or another. It's based off the old Grumpy Cat meme, but yeah.
Okay.
That's Grumpy Epic Cat, I think.
Okay.
So it's an NFT, right? And it was one of our community members did that a while back, and it was minted on the WAN chain. Yep.
Okay, excellent.
It was DeFi money printer, and that's Mr. Grumpy One.
Awesome. Well, anyway, welcome everyone. Hello, everyone in the chat. We have 7 watching, 1 like, so let's all hit that like button. Hit the notification bell so that, you know, if I need another mulligan at a different time, that you'll be notified that we're going to restream again. And you know, share the Uncle Vigilante channel. We are so close to 3,000. Thank you, Chris Sky, for breaking the, you know, I've been at 2,910 forever. And I'll get to 920 and then it comes back to 910 for 18 months covering Epic Cash. And that's just because they didn't like, you know, I was censored before I started talking crypto. I was talking about other worldwide stuff. So they kind of keep me suppressed. I think I'm shadow banned. But Chris, man, you had so many people that came in. You shot me up. I'm like at 2,990. So everybody watching this, share it with a friend. If you have a second YouTube account, then, you know, subscribe again. Let's break that 3K mark, because believe it or not, sometimes that makes a difference in getting guests on. Speaking of guests that I'd love to have on, and Max, I know that we have talked. Max, tell me a little bit about Doug Casey, because you turned me on to him. And first of all, the books that he has written, the series that ended, one was called Speculator, one was Assassin. What was the other one, Max? Drug Lord. If you all have not, I mean, I'm an Audible guy. I love being read to while I walk. I recommend that you go get those series. Which one was first? Drug Lord, I think, right? Max, you know, first series.
That is a good question.
It doesn't matter. Just look for Doug Casey book series.
They're all great.
Put in Drug Lord, and then Assassin is the last one I know. But that one's really super exciting because he has blended in cryptocurrency in that book just beautifully. Anyway,
I think it's Speculator, Drug Lord, Assassin.
Speculator, Drug Lord, Assassin. You are right. Everyone go out and either buy the books or download them. Plus, I want to tell everybody that if you want a really intriguing point of view from a man who has a ton of experience worldwide, all over the country, all over the world in monetary policy, here it is. Why don't you go to his Telegram channel, Doug Casey's Take, and sign up. He and Matt Smith, his partner over there, do an amazing job. Why am I talking about Doug Casey? Well, I want to play this for you, Max, because it's one of those to where I know that you met him. Actually, why don't you give a little backstory on Doug? And you've met him a couple of times, right?
Yeah. So I first met him at Freedom Fest in 2019, and then I met him again in Freedom Fest in 2022. The first time it was just very brief. It was when Speculator first came out, so I had him autograph a copy for me, which I still have. And then this time, he didn't remember me, but I remembered him. And so at this most recent event, we probably chatted for, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes or so.
Excellent, excellent. And was he intrigued or interested in Epic Cash?
Yeah, he told the story of Tour de Meester and who turned him on to Bitcoin in 2013, and his regrets, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, that, you know, that, as we say, everyone gets the price they deserve. In a different life, if he could go back and do it again, you know, what would he have done differently, and so on. So we had that chat with the passage of time from the vantage point of 2022. Obviously, I explained very directly, you know, how Epic is an opportunity to go back in time and do that watch that same movie again. So actually, I'm working with the Exegetes and Hierophants group of article writers. You sent me that 2-minute excerpt.
Yeah, we're gonna listen to it.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so we're gonna whip up an article based on that too.
But really,
you know,
really, my plea, and Doug, I hope one day you're watching this video, but I go by the Uncle Vigilante on Telegram, and I am really a super fan of yours. And for some reason, I don't know what I did, but when your moderators have banned me from being able to comment, I don't know if at some point I spoke about Epic Cash or whatever. I don't know what the rules are in there, but could you please unban me, because I'd love to be able to comment in there. The one thing that I wanted to do was to be able to invite you to be on Max's podcast, which is called The DNA of Bitcoin. Max, can you please tell us and tell Doug, who have you interviewed thus far and why you'd like to have Doug on as well?
Yeah, so the DNA of Bitcoin is my attempt to understand through a series of conversations what Bitcoin is, what it was originally intended to be, what it has become, what it can become, what it will be. When I say Bitcoin and you hear Bitcoin, we likely think of two different things in our minds. And so I've talked to Mark Cuban and asked him what he thinks Bitcoin is, and he had a different answer than Saifedean Ammous, who told me what he thinks Bitcoin is. And I also talked to Robert Breedlove, and he had an entirely different opinion. And so, because there's so much nuance and depth to the Bitcoin idea, and not even getting into the technicalities, I'm crossing many disciplines to get a range of views on what all is going on here. And so, having been a student of Doug's work for decades now, I've even read his stuff back from 1982, I think it was his first book. I remember going on eBay and finding a coffee stained original version, just, you know, because I like to deep dive when I find an author I like. You know, he knows a lot about money in Roman times and gold today, and he's been a significant contributor to my autodidactic educational path. And so it would be great to, you know, talk to him about Bitcoin as a form of money, and you know, this idea of money and currency, and how those two things are different, and how if you really understand that, you have money and currency, both 21 million. You have BTC and Epic. One can do money duties, the other can do money and currency duties. Which one do you want? So it would be wonderful to have that conversation with him.
Well, Doug, if you ultimately are watching this, this is just an elaborate way to issue this invitation, because I can't comment. Lift that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to make an appeal and hopefully help increase your subscriber base. everybody watching this, can you please go to Telegram and search for Doug Casey's Take and subscribe and learn and enjoy. He and Matt Smith do an amazing job in there. And if you wouldn't mind just dropping a link to this video and saying, hey, Doug, Matt, you've been invited. Just you've been invited, ... and then put the link in there. I would really appreciate that. Well, what I do every morning, Doug, I'm going to speak to you like I wish I could. Doug, what I do every morning, if you drop a podcast, if I see your podcast, Doug Casey's Take, it is absolutely my go-to first thing in the morning. I like my breakfast, like making my wife breakfast. And when I do, I have Doug Casey's Take playing the whole time while I'm enjoying my coffee, making breakfast, serving breakfast. And so you've been very much a part of my education as well. And I just do love your takes on everything. I was listening to this morning and it just made me stop. And so respectfully, I wanted to be able to play this and have a conversation with Max about why I think there may be a few of your takes within these couple of minutes that just might not be 100% accurate. And I think you want to be accurate. So I am going to play this, and I'm gonna pause in two different places, but we'll let it all play through. I'm gonna pause in one place, but then we'll let it play through. All right, here we go, guys.
Okay. Doug, what was it that convinced you to invest in Bitcoin? They say, I haven't been successful in convincing my father, who's in his mid-60s, to allocate even a tiny bit of his savings to it.
Well, I was clued into Bitcoin early, 2013. It was $13. I'm not going to tell that story again. Why jump on it? Well, I was an idiot because I said, I don't see what the utility value of it is. I don't see the use value. I looked at the other 5 characteristics of a good money.
Okay, that's where I wanted to stop. I looked at the other 5 characteristics of good money. And Max, that is something that I think if he does come on your DNA of Bitcoin, it'd be great for you to unpack, please, because I would love to know what those 5 are. And then it would be kind of cool to say, how do those 5 characteristics of what he calls good money, how do they relate to BTC? And then I would love it if you would comment on Epic Cash. Maybe we can do that after this.
Yeah, there's actually more. Good money in the information age is arguably more than just 5. He's thinking about gold historically. Recognizable, scarce, censorship resistant, durable, and indestructible. Those are the same thing. Extensible, saleable, portable, fungible, private, and divisible. So that's really the 10 you need for good money in the information age.
Right. And actually, we did a whole series, The Quest for Superior Money, with Todd Lewis and you. And that's something that should we connect with Doug, love to be able to send him those. And I think on The Quest for Superior Money, we identified 35 attributes that if you could create the most superior money, it would have these traits. So, all right, let's continue here.
It's all right. But I said, what's the use value of it? I mean, am I going to get stuck holding the bag? Well, I figured out it's a transfer mechanism. I think that's its main thing as a money. It gives you a degree of privacy, and it's a transfer mechanism where you can move your money.
Okay, I'm just going to note this, Max. Just write a little note down. It gives a degree of privacy. Let's not talk about it now. Let's talk about it afterwards. But I just wanted to just put a little bullet and put privacy by it.
Across the world at no cost, and do so privately.
Bullet, no cost.
No gatekeepers.
Yeah, no gatekeepers. That's
no gatekeepers. No cost privately and no gatekeepers.
Right. Hold on.
That makes it very valuable as a money. There's really no other money that's true of. Yeah, it's true of gold, but you got to ship it and transport it. So it's a transfer mechanism.
Yep, and that's a big deal because then that was that same thing.
Bullet transfer mechanism, please.
Yeah.
That convinced me. I bought some Bitcoin very early on, but didn't really see much of it of it. I had the same problem you did. But in 2016, I saw one of the criticisms of Bitcoin, the very beginning of 2016, was that the vast majority of the volume of the activity in the network was coming out of China. And people were criticizing it, saying it was, showed it was, showed it was bullshit, basically, is what they were trying to suggest. But I knew that within the prior 6 months in China, they instituted a new round of capital controls that basically made it much more difficult for Chinese to get their money out of the country. And when I saw, well, I know there's rich people who have money would like to get it to some jurisdiction where they're not going to lose it, and new capital controls come, and then all of a sudden the Bitcoin activity spikes tremendously. It proved to me that it was a way, if nothing else, for rich people to move large sums of money across international borders, and that provides a lot of value.
Exactly. That was the value proposition. If that had become clear to me back then, I would have jumped in it.
You'd be a Bitcoin billionaire, Doug.
I'd be a Bitcoin billionaire.
Could you please bullet Bitcoin billionaire, please?
Maybe only a millionaire now after it's come back a little bit, but still a big millionaire.
Yeah, not enough to buy a country, I'm afraid.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. Everybody, hello. This is Uncle V, and this is the Epic Cat that you're seeing.
Wouldn't it be sad to miss the boat twice?
Indeed, Max. Can you take those bullets and unpack them for us? Just pragmatic. Yeah. I mean, this is. Yeah. I did not present this, Doug. If you do watch this, this is not to poke you in the eye or anything like this. This is just. I think it's really, really important that you understand truly BTC, which is not Bitcoin. Okay, Max.
Yeah, so I agree that the value comes from the utility as a transfer mechanism. What's important to understand is that a CD-ROM in that 5 inches of shiny silver disk can store 74 megabytes of data. Imagine a blockchain is a CD-ROM with payments data on it, and you can read and write, or not write, but read at a certain speed. And Epic is merely, imagine a Blu-ray version of that uses a different laser in the same physical space to store payments data. So I agree that the utility of the monetary asset, whether it's BTC in the case of Bitcoin Core or Epic in the case of the Epic blockchain protocol, comes from the utility as a transfer mechanism, and that the cross-border scenario and trying to get around people that want to resist or restrict what you can do with your money, capital controls, you can't do this, you can't do that, is very important. So let's look at how Epic compares to Big Brother BTC on those two aspects. Now, if you want to transact and you're doing so in misalignment with certain other forces in your life, the Hong Kong person that needs to pay his supplier in Macau when powers that be don't want him to do that, as an example, or a cell phone vendor in Nigeria dealing with China, these types of things, you're going against the grain a little bit. It's important to note, he mentioned that you have a degree of privacy with BTC, which is not the case at all. Canadian truckers discovered that when they tried to use Bitcoin Core to support the protesting, the protesters up there, because the ledger knows who is sending how much to whom, people faced off-chain consequences in their lives. Bank accounts shut down, losing homes, losing jobs, losing vehicles, being prosecuted as financial terrorists because they were linked to Bitcoin Core transactions on the BTC blockchain. So there is no privacy at all on the Bitcoin Core ledger. Everyone can see what you do, where you get your money, how you got it, where you got it from. Everybody can see everybody's cards at the poker game, is how that network is structured.
I was thinking about this recently. Wouldn't it be like, just imagine if I'm just going to give an analogy here. Okay. I have a plumber that needs to come fix my toilet. He comes in and it's going to be $50. I pay him a check for $50. He could then, and this is an analogy with Bitcoin, right? The surveillance part. He could then take that in to the bank and say, I just got paid by Uncle V $50. Would you do me a favor? Would you please let me know what is his balance? And the banker would say, oh, it's $102,000. Thank you. Can you please let me know his last 40 transactions? Could you print those out for me? Oh, sure. I mean, I have that right, correct?
Yep.
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 Not only that, if you're particularly nosy and inquisitive, you can also say, by the way, where does he get his money?
Right.
And where does he spend it?
Yeah.
Right. Right. So literally.
Wait. You mean he's watching movies in Akron, Ohio, at the Holiday Inn at 2:15 in the morning? I bet he's watching porn. You sly dog.
Yes. And then you're also, yes, you're going to be able to know where he transacted and
for how much.
And I would like to know, what is the name of the company, the $20 billion company that literally makes their living surveilling the BTC blockchain?
Chainalysis. But by the way, it is a lucrative market. So there's more than one company. And at this point, it's much bigger than $20 billion industry.
Okay.
Chainalysis, Palantir, Elliptic, just bought by MasterCard for $3.2 billion. Coinbase, they're a public company, so they list out their revenue lines. You think Coinbase makes money on trading fees? I got news for you. One of their biggest earners is their contracts with the IRS, DEA, and other agencies like that. So, what you do is under extreme scrutiny at all times, and you don't even know who's watching. It's worse than that, because you go to the bank and you ask for that data. Well, at least the bank archives, like the bank doesn't have your data from the 1960s when your parents were cutting checks for Johnny's lemonade stand, back in the day. The BTC blockchain stores the data forever. So if you do something today that is seen to be verboten 5 years from now, you're going to get that knock on the door, Monero too. So it's important for people to know. Imagine when you do that keg stand in at the frat party in college, and you do something embarrassing, and then the pictures go up on Facebook. That's there for the rest of your life, and there's nothing anybody can do. This is the financial equivalent of that.
What is another one of the bullets, Max? Let's unpack.
Yeah, so move money across the world is another thing he mentioned. Now, it's important to note that because the BTC network knows where who is using it, where they are, like basically everything is known about everybody. The IP address is linked to the public key addresses and the balances. So you have a phenomenon like Coinbase shut down people who used coins connected to Russia. Yep. Binance shut down the accounts of the family members of people who work for the Russian government. Those are the types of things that are happening today based on this unlimited surveillability of the Bitcoin Core blockchain. So if you want to talk about moving money across the world, it becomes a question of who can interfere and how can they interfere. And it turns out that, the powers that be have many, many, many tools to determine who can and can't transact. What about
that network? What was the exchange in Canada that basically gave the Heisman to any BTC that came from Trade Ogre, which
it's called BitBuy.
BitBuy, yeah,
and that's a very common practice. So so just to explain that, what happens is if coins go through a place, a pair of hands that is considered risky, in this case, Trade Ogre, then people on the receiving end can elect to decline to accept those, to say, like if you've ever been overseas traveling and you have an old style $100 bill or one that's a little bit torn and they won't accept it. Yep. Any international travelers experience that. It's the same thing here. They're saying, these coins, like maybe they're genuine. Sure, the network accepts them, but we, as a part of our business process, don't.
By the way, real story, real experience. In Estonia, tried, and I knew that $100 bills would raise questions and stuff. So I had, before I traveled, I had a small amount of pocket money, just to like buy Glintwein in the winter.
Mhm.
A couple of $100 worth of 20s. Okay.
Yeah.
Go to the exchange and they reject 30% of them. Okay. This is from bank. And I told them, I was like, I'm an American citizen. This is from Bank of America. Okay. That I got the week before. And I specifically said, I need the freshest, newest notes you guys have. Okay. And they just like, yeah, well, these are not fresh enough. These are not good enough. It's like, that's it. Like no second attempt, nothing, like they ran into a little machine and it's like, and then they looked at them, and even though the little machine took all of them, the person at a glance rejected like a third of them. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway.
All right, Max, go to another bullet.
Yeah, so he mentioned no cost. The average transaction fee over the past year has been, or past quarter or so, with the market down, let's say, is $2. But in April of 2021, it was $63, and in December of 2017, it was $81. So just like Uber surge pricing, it's normally $10 for you to get to the movie theater. Sometimes imagine your $10 Uber ride is now $400.
Yeah.
Well, you're priced out of the market of getting to work and offering your labor services.
That's right.
Why? Because the BTC network, it only does 1 megabyte every 10 minutes, which was great for 2009, but it's not great today.
Right.
Epic does 1 megabyte every 10 minutes. That's why our throughput is almost 4 times higher today, and we know how to make it much, much higher. So there's only 350,000 slots, transactional slots, in a 24-hour period that the network can handle. And when things get hot, then the people who are moving the $1 million, or $1 billion numbers push you down the stack, and you have to wait. So this idea that it's at no cost, $2 even, which is fairly low. $2 is a lot if you're earning $1.25 a day.
Right. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Next
and then the other part is he said privately, and that's absolutely not the case. So you have no privacy at all when using the BTC network.
So, and this is what hit me and why I wanted to be able to show it. It's like Doug just doesn't know what he is describing, what he is attributing to BTC is Epic Cash. Can you just explain that a little bit about how we are more Bitcoin than Bitcoin?
Yeah, so, well, we're more Bitcoin than BTC,
yes,
which is not a Bitcoin, because Bitcoin Core is a software product maintained by a company called Blockstream that has very different interests than the original protocol as it came out. So if you read the Bitcoin white paper, it says Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, a purely electronic version of, or a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash, would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. And he goes on to explain in the white paper 12 times in an 8-page paper about the concept of trust. It's mentioned more than any other thing. Satoshi talks about how important it is not to have to trust anybody, because if you do, it undermines the careful balance of incentives and forces that he baked into the system. And so what you have in Bitcoin Core is a system that is not peer-to-peer. I mean, sure, on a network level, you have technically peers talking to peers, but there's 150 million BTC owners and there's 22,000 nodes, which means that 99.99 whatever percent of BTC users are not doing peer-to-peer transactions, and they're not using it as a cash system. They're using it as a form of long-term savings and money and hodl and getting more dollars out. They're not using it as a cash system, and it's not without financial institutions. There's financial institutions everywhere you turn. Hardly anybody uses the BTC network without a financial institution, unless you're a tech nerd and you run, like hell, it takes a month to download and sync the blockchain. Good luck with that. And there's no benefit to doing so anyway. If you mess something up, you're going to lose all your money. Why not let Coinbase handle it? So there's a lot of advantages to letting a financial institution work with your BTC coins. So those things that Doug, and he's not alone. Many people. This is why we say right idea, wrong coin, because
Yeah.
those wonderful qualities that he ascribes to Bitcoin, better late than never. But I'm sorry, those things simply do not apply to Bitcoin Core, and yet they do apply to Epic. And if you overlay the growth curves, if you look at Epic in 2022, that looks a hell of a lot like Bitcoin in 2013, except you know what? It's not $12, at least not yet. It's less than $1. And that's because people are confused and they're listening to people like Michael Saylor with 2.6 million followers who are also using outdated narratives. But in this case, it's full well knowing because somebody needs to buy, it's called exit liquidity. So welcome, Doug. It'd be wonderful to teach you about all this stuff.
And Doug, I'm just going to show you this. In my channel, if you go to playlists, there's the Quest for Superior Money. There's 16 episodes, I believe, to where we literally went through with both Max and our chief lead engineer. If Satoshi had a mulligan, or if we all had a mulligan and we could create superior money, what would the attributes be? And then we compared those attributes just as a thought experiment. Epic Cash. So let's go to private by default. This is an interactive PDF, which is in my show notes. All of my show notes. It says the Quest for Superior Money, so anyone can download this. But you can see how private by default, yes, for Epic. Bitcoin is a no. Gold, yes. Federal Reserve notes, no. And Federal Reserve digital credits, no. I'm not going to go through all these. I just want to let you know that we put a ton of time to being able to go through means of payment, peer-to-peer, open governance, portable, mobile, quantum future-proofed. And then not only that, we went through and we provided definitions for each one of those, available to the unbanked, borderless, decentralized, eco-friendly, independent governance, quantum future-proof, portable, mobile, store of value. So it really is a wonderful education piece too for people who take the time to just study it. And I give a little commentary here. And then on the last page, I put the answer key, which when you take a quick look at this, the only thing that Epic does not offer that when trying to create superior money is one thing, and that's widespread acceptance. I believe BTC is trading at 20,000. So today you could get 40,000 Epic for one BTC. So you talked about missing the boat with BTC, and that if you could do it over again, you'd go back and you'd be a billionaire. I just really encourage you to go through the process. Don't take my word for it. Do your own assessment. Compare it to the definitions and go across. Is gold surveillance resistant? Indeed it is. I know you like your gold. I don't think any of us like Federal Reserve digital credits. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, but I wanted to just let you know that we're not just, saying nanny and a poo-poo, Epic Cash is better than BTC. We've done the work. We've done more work than anyone out there. I have 16 hours of deep dive into this document that's there for your binge viewing. Okay, thank you, Max. Yoga, you know what? You had a lot on your mind this week, and so I just want to hand it over to you. And if we go over a little today, guys, that's fine because we had a mulligan at the beginning, so don't worry about it. But Yoga, why don't you go ahead and let us know what's on your mind? It's yoga time.
Well, gosh, I wish I knew you guys were going to go over a lot of the stuff that I was going to go over. So I don't think we're going to be going that far. But the one thing, and we'll kind of beat this to death a little bit, we're talking about the white papers, right? And the white papers, I listen to Michael Saylor, and I listen to Pomp, and I listen to Jason, and I listen to a lot of these guys. And
Yeah.
I've attended their conferences, at the crypto shows. I listen to these guys very carefully, and I listen very closely to what they're saying. And the one thing that keeps popping out is that they keep saying, like, well, do the research, do the due diligence. Those are standard canned lip service kind of things that everybody says. But the funny thing is, the white papers that they are only selectively referring to, they keep referring to them less and less. And they keep quoting only the stuff that fits their narrative. Like that first sentence, the very first sentence, does not get quoted at all.
Right.
They don't talk about it being peer-to-peer, and they don't talk about it being cash, and they don't talk about that you have to go through a financial institution. There's like so many elephants in the room that you need to
have
rent.
to trust.
Yeah, and you need to rent out the entire freaking Caesar Palace to fit in all the elephants. Okay, so there's that, and to be fair to Doug and to a lot of the other people who are honest, at least to me, it sounds like they're honest in their presentation, is that in the beginning, in the very beginning, that was the intention. The peer-to-peer version of electronic cash, that was the intention. The whole idea of going peer-to-peer directly from one party to another without going through the financial institution, that was the intention. For starters, there were no financial institutions offering any kind of support, and we never thought they would. So I mean, there was no nefarious master plan in the beginning to screw anybody with it. Okay, and it lasted for a couple of years like that. Okay, everybody was just, I remember, like, everybody was so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. All these Bitcoin enthusiasts, were thinking like, we're all aglow with anticipation of this potential realization. And I don't mean getting rich, because nobody ever thought that this shit is going to be worth $2 trillion. Okay. The idea was like, oh my God, we're doing this cool stuff and we're being free. And some was like, we're kind of sticking it to the man, but it was more about this positive vibe about freedom of transacting. Okay. But it turned out that it was just a transient fad. Because we immediately started realizing that and we had this honest naivete, but the reality emerged quickly that the privacy component was ultimately trackable. And you guys already talked about it, and you guys already kind of beat that one to death, so I'm not going to touch on that. But where I want to take that to is, look, people today putting money into Bitcoin, they will not make it better. Bitcoin has no intention to change or improve. It has no intention to be better. In fact, every penny you put into it, the bigger it becomes, the uglier it becomes. It's well on the way of becoming this tool of oppression through censorship, because everybody is shackled by this non-fungible tracking mechanism. Okay. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, we have Epic Cash. And we started humble like Bitcoin, and we have the same scarcity principles, but unlike them, we actually adhere to them. And we have real privacy. And again, we weren't trying to hide anything. The privacy came as a side effect of our Mimblewimble compression. It just does not, the blockchain does not need to store amounts. It does not need to store address information to conduct business. Just like potato farmers are not planting potatoes because potatoes are private. Potatoes don't have serial numbers. Oh my God, it's a conspiracy. No, it's not a criminal act to grow potatoes. It's the same thing, privacy, crypto, it's just that. It just offers a monicum of privacy and therefore a monicum of security, okay, with real fungibility. And because of that, it becomes this truly unstoppable thing, because it's truly private and it's truly fungible. And therefore it becomes secure, because, people put money in the bank, people live in houses, the three little pigs, right? Which one survived? The ones that are more secure, okay? And the unconfiscatability is becoming more and more relevant as powers that be across different countries, and not everybody's blessed in living in a country with slightly better rules than other country, okay? But as all these countries piss away their budgets, piss away their taxpayers' money, and start reaching into the pockets of their citizens to, backfill their shortfallings, okay, privacy is going to become pretty damn valuable, okay? And unconfiscatability is going to become even more valuable. By the way, it's a funny word, unconfiscatable. Even though it follows all the semantic rules of the English language, Google Mail word and other places do not recognize it as a real word. I mean, here's one for you conspiracy theorists to chew on, okay? Okay, right? I'm not saying anything, okay? But and then sorry, just let me kind of wrap my rant, okay? Because the other thing that happens is I don't know if how many of you have heard about the lawsuit that was brought against Oracle a couple of days ago. Okay,
No.
so there's this lawsuit against Oracle, and most people are like, hey, I don't know what the hell Oracle is, So Oracle is this faceless company, okay, that has you under the microscope and always has. Okay, it's like that moon, that moon thing. Okay, always has. Okay, they mapped 5 billion people under unique identifiers. Okay, 5 billion that's the meaningful population. Those are like Earth population is much bigger than that, but let's subtract all the kids and out of that equation. Okay, and 5 billion is really like the core. So anybody who is meaningfully touching any money is mapped by Oracle. Okay, under one unique identifier. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg is nervously crying in the corner, realizing that he only has like less than 3 billion, and half of those are robots like himself. Okay, this is just sink that in. 5 freaking billion people. Okay,
Wow.
And Palantir and Chainalysis and all these other guys, they all go to Oracle for the information, and they all tie all this data together. And I'm not being paranoid. And generally speaking, I'm actually like one of the more non-conspiratorial, if you will. Okay, I look at the freaking raw facts, raw data that cannot be disputed. This is raw data. You can't say like, oh, well, you're just thinking this. No, man, this is what it is right now. Okay, and I think in this atmosphere, Epic becomes even more valuable. It becomes even more relevant. And then what have we done with Epic? I was talking about how you put money into Epic and then Epic grows, and what happens with it. Well, in the last 6 months, we've actually developed and we moved our product, we moved our ecosystems forward more than we had since the very beginning, okay? We introduced easier ways to transact. And this is kind of the bottleneck with crypto, right? Crypto, to begin with, is kind of a boogaboo that people have a hard time visualizing, like, what is it about? But if you actually make people jump through hoops, like, command line interface, which brings back to like tears to those of us who grew up in the DOS world, in the pre-Windows world, we've advanced. Like, I just installed the latest GUI, on a laptop, on my wife's laptop, GUI wallet, okay, and I almost freaking cried. Okay, I'm looking at this thing, okay, and it's beautiful, it's awesome, it's sitting there synchronizing, And I remember like our CLI interface when we first started with Epic in 19, and I remember our early GUI interface, which would go down periodically because of server issues and stuff like that. And then I remember this awesome like 3.0 that we did. We took everybody's feedback and we and 3.0 came out, but it was buggy because that was just the very beginning. And now I'm looking at this GUI wallet that we have, and it is a polished product. It's freaking useful, beautiful, powerful, allows you to juggle multiple wallets, allows you to do all these cool things. You can transact over Tor, you can transact over ngrok, you can transact, it's versatile. Okay.
62 languages.
And we have, yeah, exactly. And we have the manuals, we have the how-tos, and we have the actual button overlay, localized to 62 languages.
This one, shout out Sky King.
Yep.
Well, let's just touch on that for a second, because like you want to talk about connecting the world with money. If somebody only speaks Amharic and there's no wallet available in Amharic, that's a problem. And our wallet speaks Amharic, and not many others do. I'm not sure if any do, actually, now that I think of it. And if we can do 62, we can do all of them, and we will.
Yeah, I tell you, this wallet is absolutely amazing. I had mine on Vite forever, my Epic, and I felt so good when I actually went through this process. I was so nervous, and when I got all of my Epic onto my GUI wallet, that was just amazing. And then can y'all talk about the mobile wallet that we have as well, and how how you can restore your GUI wallet in the mobile wallet, and then you have everything on your mobile wallet as well. People keep saying, when are we going to have a mobile wallet? Well, we have one now.
It's here. I mean, Diego chose not to make a big splash yet in case there's last minute bugs and 1-star reviews that you can never take away. But there's 61 people in the Stack Wallet Telegram group. That's the handle. Also stackwallet.com for download links. Epic is one of 5 coins that's supported on there. The others are BTC, Firo, Monero, and Doge, I believe, also Ether, I think. So it's a great wallet. It's fully open source, non-custodial, no tracking. It's free. There's no other product in the market that can meet those tests. So today, the way that you would get your coins from, say, Vite to the mobile wallet is you download them. You take them off Vite by a cross-chain withdrawal to the desktop GUI, and then you use those same seed words in Stack Wallet. You import your seed words to have them show up on the mobile wallet, and then you can send them through something called Epic Post that gives you a string address, ES64557, whatever, like we're all used to, and you can send Epic just like Vite, just like BTC, just like anything on the actual Epic main chain network, which is a major breakthrough. And so that's available today. It's wonderful. I've been using it for about a month now myself, and I would encourage everyone to do so. It's available for iOS and Android. And we're going to make that easier, connecting the various, Vite and mobile and all these different things. We got to get Tor support added and so on. But it's really all coming together. And so if you want peer-to-peer electronic cash that can be transacted with anyone, anywhere, anytime, any amount, any reason, and nobody can stop you, and you can do that privately, then there's a network that exists today, and you don't have to pay $20,000 a coin. You can get it for under $1 a coin. So as we always say, right idea, wrong coin.
Right. And the thing to consider, and by the way, one of the reasons why it's also impressive is it lets you do off-chain trend. I mean, both sender and receiver do not have to be online at the same time. This is kind of the thing about Mimblewimble, that historically you have this transaction mechanism where both sender and receiver need to be online at the same time. This takes you beyond that. This takes you past that to a format that we're more used to. If I'm traveling and I want to send Max 10 epics, I just pull up Max on my address book on my phone, and then I just send him 10 epics. And then whenever Max gets around to looking at his phone, he'll see that, hey, wow, he just got 10 epics. It sounds trite, but it's actually a pretty cool achievement, for Mimblewimble crypto, to be able to do that seamlessly, to be able to do that, dynamically like that. And the other thing I just kind of want to touch off on is, so these are just some of the achievements that we got today. Like everything that we do every day, we improve the product because we're not complacent. We're not happy with where we are. We acknowledge that we're doing pretty well, but at the same time, we know our shortcomings. We know that we need to improve things. We know that, we're open to constructive criticism, and keeping in mind that 99% of the stuff that we hear is the stuff that we already know and it's already being worked on. This is kind of an important distinction. And there's never a second in time where we're resting on our laurels, okay? Because we're still early in the discovery process, we're still early in the development process, and it's just going to keep getting better. And the thing is, some people say like, well, like Vite Wallet, for example, oh, it's kind of difficult to use, or decentralized exchanges are difficult to use. And to me, I wonder if these people, well, I'm pretty sure these people like never use the standard exchange, like a KYC exchange. Because like on Vite, you can get started in like 5 minutes. Okay, download the app, pop it open, and boom, that's it. You're in.
No KYC.
Okay? You go to Kraken or you go to Binance or whatever. Okay, and you're gonna have to log in and create an account, but then you don't have jack as far as ability to do anything. So not until you send a photo, you send a picture. You send a picture of yourself with a sign. You send a bank statement. You send a utility bill. And by the way, hey, if you're living off the grid and you're not plugged into the control system, well, hey, welcome to the world of the bank. You are screwed and you don't matter. With Vite, you just get up and running. boom, that's it. So
Yeah.
and as far as ease of use, again, look, MetaMask is a bitch to use. Okay, I hate MetaMask. I talked to one of the MetaMask developers at Consensus 2022 in Austin, and I told him that, and he's like, "Well, can you tell me, like, we think it's pretty easy to use." I'm like, "Okay, well, here's a use case. Why is it that when I when Firefox updates or when my app updates, I have to re-enter like token information to reconnect stuff? That's not like a super friendly, user friendly thing."
Right.
Okay. It's like, well, yeah, okay, but aside from that, anyway. So, and yet millions of people use that. Millions of people manage to navigate like the NFT network and figure that stuff out. Guys, look, Epic is like miles simpler. Okay, like way simpler than that stuff. So, but again, we know we can be better, and we're working on getting better. The fact that the mobile wallet has to be right now essentially tethered to your desktop wallet, well, it actually gives you some cool flexibility as far as sending and receiving. It also doesn't stop you from, sending and receiving between phones. I mean, that was kind of the whole point of the exercise. It's just that the initial setup takes a little bit longer, but once you actually got it running, and that's the point. Yes, it's beta, and we know that we need HTTP.
How long was Google in beta?
8 years.
Gmail.
Sorry.
Yeah, Gmail was in beta 8 years. Anyway, so again, look, we got this. Okay, we know, and we listen, and we continue to create this secure, amazing product that delivers privacy, and it creates a crypto that cannot be taken away. That's kind of my rant.
And as everyone knows, well, Izzy, can you hop on?
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I know that you're a very good technical analyst, and so I just pulled up here the Epic chart, and I was wondering if you could just kind of go through this with us, Izzy.
Oh, geez, yeah. See that point in the middle? That was me on a kayak about 3 weeks ago, but yeah.
You gotta tweak the RSI and overlay an Ichimoku cloud. That's what you're missing. The candlesticks.
I needed an excuse to show that. I haven't shown that for a while.
Guys, one thing I'll say, I don't talk about price, but one thing I'll say that I think we've seen this time and time again, regardless of the crypto. Okay, the free market will ultimately judge you what you can accomplish, not what your price was at some particular point in time. Free market judges us only by what we accomplish. Nothing more, nothing less. Any kind of a fleeting data point in time, people getting pissed off that that Bitcoin reached $4 and then dropped. People that were saying like Epic would never reach 10 cents, but then we actually broke 10 cents, and they were pissed off that we dropped after we reached 10 cents, etc. Okay, that transient fleeting moment in time that. Look, people just can't be happy all the time. Okay, you can't. What do they say? Like, you can't make all people happy all the time, right? Okay, but the one thing that you just cannot take away are the accomplishments. Look, we said we're going to, update our core to V3. We did. We said we're going to have a solid GUI wallet. We did. We said we're going to have a mobile wallet. We did. What's next? We're working on it. Okay, we're never resting.
Hey Max, can you tell us a little bit about Freeman Express that we're working on?
Oh boy, yeah. So Freeman Express is getting very, very close. The final roadblocks and reasons why not keep falling by the wayside and getting resolved. So stay tuned for a lot of stuff there. With Freeman Express, you'll be able to spend your Epic value initially by selling, later through instantiating an EUSD loan and borrowing against your Epic. We'll make that as seamless as possible, of course. But imagine walking into a store and you swipe your Freeman Express card, incidentally, probably be MasterCard for most holders in most markets. There's 22 different ways that you will be able to spend your Epic value. So for example, Alipay, WeChat Pay, Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, MasterPass, Visa Checkout, all that good stuff. There's 321 million crypto owners worldwide. We'll be able to service about 90% of those. We can't do certain regions. I'm sorry if you're in Iran, we can't help you, but most of the world we can. So you'll be able to spend your Epic value using 22 different off-ramp methods, MasterCard, PayPal, all that. We've got a whole list of them, online and off, physical card, one-time use, debit, reloadable. Basically, if you can imagine it, we can do it. So not only being able to spend your Epic value in stores by providing that merchant link for fiat. When a merchant gets crypto, they don't want crypto, they want fiat. We wish they wanted crypto, but they need fiat to pay the bills. And so having that link means the customer can pay in crypto, merchant gets out fiat, and it's less than half the cost of credit card settlement, and it's immediate, whereas the full settlement cycle for credit card is 180 days, and usually it's 3 to 5 business days to get the initial advance of most of the money. So it just makes business sense as well. So Freeman Express will offer 17 fiat currencies, 22 payment rails, 162 countries.
Max, is there any other project? Is there any other project that has anything like that in crypto?
So I mean, you can connect crypto to banking various ways, but it's very friction laden. I probably had a half a dozen crypto related products over the years, and it's always clunky. Oh, you can't use that type of card at the gas station, error code 43, call customer service. And it's just it's never been quite there. Anybody that's played with this stuff, crypto.com is probably the best of them, but it's very limited. There's no shortage of players out there that do crypto to fiat and fiat to crypto financial services, but the difference with Freeman Express is focused. It's purely Epicentric. You'll be able to do other crypto there. Sure, if you have BTC and want to swap it out, they'll help you. But basically, the role of Freeman Express is to provide that fiat link for the Epic ecosystem. And even if we blow up tomorrow and become a top 10 coin next year, it'll take the big guys quite a long time to turn their super tanker around just through inertia and momentum. And so with a focused niche offering that has one job and only has to do that job well, I think it'll add a lot of value. And even if you don't use Freeman Express, the fact is that it is possible to do so for others, makes the value of your holdings go up.
Do you know what people are going to be using instead of Freeman Express if they don't start paying attention? Do you want to share with us a little bit about Executive Order 14067, please?
Yeah, so I would encourage everyone to check out Executive Order 14067, slated to come into force December 13th, which is the official start of the CBDC era, central bank digital currencies. So we don't know what it's exactly going to look like yet, but judging by what is in place in other places, are things like spending restrictions, social credit score. If you criticize a political opponent online, your money can be turned off. If you're receiving government assistance, you can't buy that type of shampoo. You have to buy the government approved one. These sound like extreme examples, but this is actually happening worldwide in many places. It just hasn't happened here yet. So, if that sounds appealing to you, do nothing and wait until December 14th. If it doesn't, and you like the taste of crickets, then maybe tune into what we're saying over the next 90 days.
Are they going to, this is also gives them an opportunity, right? When basically your means of payment is your digital credits, to do a bail-in like they did in Greece, right? They could literally just say, okay, look, sorry, not sorry, but you have $100. It's got to be 90 because we have a crisis.
Well, that's the law. In Cyprus in 2013, there were 2 banks that failed. One was haircut 40%, the other was haircut 60%. So on average, it was half. The FDIC has $1 per $1,000 of exposure. If I have my math right, something like that. It's very small. It would not be allowed to operate if it were an actual private insurance company, because it doesn't have the reserves to pay out the claims. So your 250,000 FDIC insurance is really what is that, like $2.50, $25, something like that.
Wow.
You know, it's essentially a rounding error. So it's a false sense of security. Anything above that, it has been the law, not just in the United States, but the entire G20 ever since 2013 to do exactly what happened in Cyprus. So I got news for you. No matter how you feel about Jamie Dimon or Bank of America leadership or any of those places that you have your money with, their trading losses are your responsibility, because it is the law of the land that when the bank has a hiccup and mismanages its affairs, your deposits are slated to be used to make up that capital shortfall. So in 2007, we had bailouts. Today we have bail-ins. So
let's just take a look at Federal Reserve digital credits, because we did that comparison in the quest for superior money. Let's just go down the list. Means of payment, check. Peer-to-peer, no. You have to go through the government. Digital and divisible, yes, yay. Borderless, no. Unit of account, yes. And then all of these others: private by default, centralized, fungible, surveillance resistant, politically resistant, censorship resistant, confiscation resistant, scarce, store value, inflation resistant, fair launch. None of those. They have none of those characteristics, but they do have a publicly verifiable network. Great. Trust minimized, permissionless? No. Immutable? Absolutely. Neutral, survivable? No. Eco-friendly? We'll give them a check there. Open governance? No. Regulation friendly? Yes. Durable? No. Scalable and fast? Yes. Portable, mobile? Yes. Available to the unbanked? No. Widespread acceptance? Yes. And quantum future proof? No. So that just I wanted to go through that list, Doug, in case you're still listening, just to say that we really thought this through. But digital credits, December, that's this year, Max. I mean, that's what they gonna do? Basically say you need to bring in your dollars.
Well, we don't know what's going to happen, and that's the scary thing. You know, I would encourage people to do their own homework. And
does this guy know? I can't remember.
Which guy?
This guy. I can't remember. He's just one of the.
Isn't he the Pizza Hut spokesperson?
Good old Agustin, my boy Agustin Carstens.
Yeah,
he knows, but he's not telling us.
Let me wait. Maybe you're wrong.
Our analysis on CBDC, in particular for the use of general use, we tend to establish the equivalence with cash, and there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is.
I like how the word absolute control rolls off his tongue.
Yeah, doesn't it?
It fills me with reassurance about my future.
I mean, that's what we're facing, everybody. So if you want to stay in BTC and have it surveilled, go for it. If you want to just basically be a sheep in the system and be part of the CBDC system, to where if you ate too much steak the first 2 weeks of the month, And forget it if your birthday party's the latter part of the month. If they decide that no more stake for you, they can program your CBDC dollars to where it won't work on any of in any retailer. You think that's crazy? It's not. If you don't, if you haven't woken up and realized that we are all under assault and that there is a group of Druid Babylonian bastards in this world that are indeed conspiring to be able to control everything that you and I do, then you just haven't been paying attention. And I will tell you, covering Epic Cash for over a year and a half now, and came to it honestly, and it was a slow boil being the evangelist I am now. I really am making an appeal that at least come into our community and learn more. t.me/Epic Cash. Come in there, and then we can direct you. Otherwise, if you're interested in mining or trading or we have tons of different subgroups. But we'd like to be able to educate you on why you might want to have a position in Epic Cash. And boy, with the recent retrace, it's a bloodbath everywhere right now. My goodness gracious. Katie barred the doors. It is such a great value right now. Max?
I have one final thought, which is let's look at the specific wording that Mr. Carson's used, an expression of central bank liability. So what people think of as their money, which is technically currency. What is currency? It's an IOU for money. It's a substitute for money. Money is something very different indeed. I just describe money as epic, or epic to me is the most superlative form of money. One of the things that makes a money money, if you ask JP Morgan, he said gold is money, everything else is credit. My version of that is epic is money, almost everything else is credit. Is that it's not a liability of anyone. So your digital credits, whether they're pre December 13th, post December 13th, i.e. with or without or with restrictions on what you can do with it. The fact of the matter is you have what you technically own is a liability from the central bank. So your asset is their liability. Your money, your value is only as good as the counterparty's ability to pay. Right. Whereas in Epic, you own the keys to that data storage space on the blockchain, and that doesn't depend on any counterparty. As long as the blockchain exists, then your money will exist, and the network will process it for you. And the reason the network will continue to exist is because there's economic incentives built in indefinitely in the form of the block reward and mining and transaction fees and nodes and how that all works to assure that 100 years from now, Epic is still going to be there. And so you really you have 90 days to get your head around this stuff. After that, there are no do-overs. What's lost is lost.
Have you ever been to a post office where they have this great line of post office boxes right next to each other? Or if you go into a bank and you have the safety deposit boxes, have you ever done, right? Can you visualize that? What you just said triggered something in my mind that I'm a visual person, but now it's like, if you can imagine Epic Cash, the blockchain, that there is one Epic Cash in, let's say there's 21 million exactly the same safety deposit boxes, right? Which require a key. There's one Epic Cash in each of those. When you're acquiring Epic Cash, basically you're getting the key to that safety deposit box. There will only ever be 21 million safety deposit boxes that have a coin in it, thus the scarcity. But for me, it's like we hear, especially newbies, not your keys, not your coins. Now, of course, we're talking digital here, not physical keys, but I'm sorry, I just had to kind of go off on a tangent on that because it was just helpful for me to like, oh, yeah, that's right. My keys are my access to that safety deposit box, and only I have the keys. No one else can mess with it.
Sure.
Yep,
and you're defining
exactly.
money. and Max is talking about the distinction between currency and money. And I'm the grumpy cat over here shelling out my Epic, shelling out. You got people who have not read this article by Nick Sasbo called Shelling Out, and going back through history and the use of money and how people decided what money would be, and people would use seashells and all sorts of different shiny things. And Epic is this scalable, this fast, this speedy money that is agile to adapt to future challenges and flexible to integrate new technologies. And this is the new seashell. This is what we're shelling out. This is human beings taking their financial freedom into their own hands. And no one can, that's why it's a sovereign blockchain distributed across hundreds of countries, thousands of nodes that no one can stop.
Thank you for that. Shelling out. I never thought of it that way. They used to trade in seashells.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I shelled out 10,000, whatever for, oh, really? Dang, bro.
Right.
Yeah. Shelling out.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Well, look, guys, it's 1:50.
That's a lot of wampum, by the way. Sorry.
And I know that we have a what after this, guys? We have a Freeman Express meeting going through this financial model and the investors presentation. So darned exciting. So we're going to have to say sayonara for now. But keep coming back. You never know. Maybe it's a long weekend, guys. Maybe some of us, we might, no commitments, but we may hop on here for an unscheduled live stream just to be able to chat whatever we want to. Maybe Monday or something. I don't know. We'll talk about it. But guys, thank you everyone in the chat for coming in. Really appreciate it. After this renders, please always go in my show notes and scroll down. It is just a plethora of information. It is a repository of just about everything that you need. And I don't think many people take advantage of it because I don't tell them about it enough. So I'm going to start doing better. Okay. So those of you in the US, happy holiday weekend. We will see you next week. And Tuesday evening, I'll be on with Ab. And then on Wednesday, we'll pick back up with Todd Lewis and Max for crypto coffee at noon. So, and then Epic Cash Live next Friday again. Okay, everyone. Thank you for being here. Max, guys, see you in Telegram. I'll drop